We'd finished a climb in the Himalayas. 30 metres in front of me, this tiger just gets up. I was in Bolivia last year. Wandering spiders that if you get bitten by, you get a massive raving old bugger for about 4 hours and then drop dead. And we were in Greenland. It's the most disgusting freaking thing that I've ever eaten.
The blood drinking.
Okay, I can talk a bit about the blood drinking. Don Trump Jr. He said, well, you know they carry the bubonic plague. And I'm busy picking up parasites around the world.
This podcast is brought to you by Spartan Precision Equipment, available at your local gun dealer.
Hunters, farmers, sporting shooters, it's time to set your sights. It's time to unload on the podcast made for Aussie shooters with Brad.
For a lesser man, this would be a challenge.
Matt.
Quite frankly, I'm going to win this.
And Keith.
I am pretty much the rabbit-proof fence.
It's the NIOA Unloaded Podcast.
Yes, well, a big round of applause today. We've got him straight from the UK. Would you please welcome to the NIOA Unloaded Podcast, the one, the only, Mr. G, Rob Gearing. Woo!
Thank you, boys.
Hear that? The crowd has gone wild already.
Yeah.
Also joining me in the NIOA Unloaded Podcast room, give it up for Mr. Brad Johnson. Yeah.
Come on, boys, we're playing the favour. Oh, come on. Even I'm feeling bad.
Well, look, welcome, gentlemen. And Rob, I believe, mate, you just come back from New Zealand.
I have been in New Zealand. I've been in New Zealand for a few weeks,
What have you
having a
been up
whole
to?
bunch of fun. I've done all sorts of things,
Yeah.
but I finished with shooting a red stag, hunting a red stag up in Marlborough. Beautiful landscape, great shot. I mean, a great thing for me because it wasn't a really long, challenging shot. It was 260 yards, so it was a comfortable sort of environment, but a really difficult place to get a solid platform.
Yeah, right.
So I was able to use the Spartan equipment to great success.
So what were you using?
I was using a hoplite, actually.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But I was on a really crazy angle. I couldn't get behind the rifle, not just like a little competition. I had to sit adjacent to it. And really, even with one of our bipods, sort of struggled to get that stability. But because you've got those three legs on those small little platform, I could really lock in nice and tight, and I just could see enough of the deer to nail it. As an old man, and I am an old man, carrying the meat out and that thing was quite,
Challenging.
They work you hard, the Kiwis. They always scare me. You know, they're
But
fit people.
It's beautiful landscape, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely love it.
Well, look, I thought what we might do on the podcast today is for people that don't know much about your products. I mean, NIOA represents Spartan Precision equipment
here.
But like, how long have we had this stuff for? now, Brad?
3 years now.
Yeah.
As Rob will discuss the products too. He's got a few new ones designed for this year that'll just suit the Australian market a little bit better, I feel.
I think in your defence as well, and America, we probably haven't nailed the market correctly, but we're fixing that. You've got to remember the DNA for Spartan was in Europe. There's no public land in Europe, so people tend to be pretty wealthy. The product line has been really quite aspirational for many hunters, and I want to fix that. And there's a few things coming out now, really the Springbok bipod being the first one that's what I would call an affordable answer for a very flexible, stable platform. And that thing, the little Springbok, has been our hottest selling item by a country mile.
This one here.
No, that's the Javelin bipod.
Rob, you can see Matt's in marketing.
Matt knows
everyone.
these things really well.
That there is the Springbok. Matt's in. Yeah. Close past the Springbok across.
Here we go. Right.
I haven't got my glasses on.
That's your excuse.
So we call these the chopsticks of death.
The chopsticks of death.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I shot, me and a Viking friend shot 100 goats in New Zealand when we were playing with this in 2 days. And it's a really, really quick functional tool. So nothing, ingenious about it. It's just a very simple functional tool. So I developed this with a Scandinavian buddy up in the Arctic, got down to minus 26 centigrade, got too cold to play. The snow machine failed and a few other things went wrong. And we couldn't find any capercaillie. I don't know if you know what a capercaillie is.
Nope.
It's a giant grouse that lives up in the Arctic, and they're like a turkey. You know, they're huge things. And when it gets really cold, they dig themselves in little snow holes and disappear. And so we're on skis trying to find these things, having an epic disaster. I'm falling over every 5 minutes in like snow that's like soup. So when you fall over in it, you can't get a purchase and can't get back up. So I said, stuff this. Let's go and work on your bipod. Because Alford been on at me for years to do this. And he's got a contract in the Arctic to remove red foxes where they encroach on silver foxes. And he said, I want a fast, adaptable predator support system. So we made some samples. We made some in rubber, absolute epic disaster because they all split or get too stiff in the ice and then too soft in the summer. We use silicon, and silicon is not so temperature sensitive. So having a silicon body means these legs will do pretty much anything you want them to do. It's extendable, so I can do everything from a prone shot. I can literally go like this up to a kneeling shot on one little system. And I thought these would take a long time to take off. They haven't. It's the hottest selling product. The next thing that will come out is obviously the Springbok Quad that uses silicon bodies on the bottom and one on the back. And what I'm really excited about is a Springbok tripod. And you'll get that this year, guys. Okay. So it's just basically 3 legs, but it's a standing, you can use for a standing shot, kneeling or prone.
You know what I was just thinking there,
What's
Matthew?
that, mate?
A Springbok Mini, Rob, that you could use like that on the top of a bonnet, the top of a car. Because a lot of guys, you know.
Yeah, they lean over their car.
Bonnets are uneven, tops of the roofs of the cars are uneven. But something like that with legs that high, all of a sudden, on top of a ute, on top of the thing, opens up a few more possibilities.
You know what? That's a really good idea. And the Kiwis have already been doing it.
Yeah, I reckon
so
that would be good.
That's a really good shout.
They're fantastic.
Springbok
Do we give Brad a round of applause?
No, well, I'd like to.
Yes, I deserve something, surely.
I'd like a percentage cut as well. I don't know how we're going to work
You
this.
don't even know what one is.
No, I do. Look, hang on, look, before we put those chopsticks of death down. But look, let's go back a bit. Let's go back a fair way now. Look, what was the inspiration for Spartan Precision equipment? How did it begin?
That's a really good question. Actually, I used to take people hunting in the UK. I was fed up with having a bipod stuck in my shoulder.
Right.
Because I'd rarely use it. I might use it one every 8, 10 times. It wasn't something that I needed all the time. And so to have that sticking there and getting in my way was irritating for me. So I took the thing off. And I had a Swedish client out and we got into a nice roebuck. It's a small little deer for your listeners, about the size of a lab, really great little hunting animal and good eating. And basically he wasn't comfortable making the shot. So I sort of failed him. I thought, well, I can do better. And my previous life, I was in aviation and we were doing something with Concorde nose, turn it into a piece of art, put it on an Olympus engine bearing, which is the engine that powered Concorde, covered it with 2 clamshells. And basically we use the clamshells, we use rare earth magnets to stick them together. And I thought, these things are so freaking pokey. I said to the design engineer, I said, make me a bipod that goes on my rifle with a magnet. That was the end of my genius. Yeah, well, and that was the birth of Spartan, actually. Yeah. And it worked really well. And then I thought, there's a market for this. I won't be the only person that doesn't like bipods. So I'm a man that invents bipods that do not like bipods. But the whole system now is, our DNA is mountain hunting. And that's a challenge for Australia. It's not a challenge for the west side of America, but it is for the rest of the states. So I'm now looking at products that come down off the mountains. We've got more horses in the stable now. And there's many things that are going to go in those little adapters. And sorry.
No, you're right. I was just going to say that's exactly like here in Australia. We've got a really small hunting fraternity, real small hunting sort of area. But if you look at where 90% of Australians shoot, it's dead flat.
Yeah.
It's dead flat. And they shoot in out of cars, out of quads, off motorbikes and things like that. So, yeah, having something to open up that part of the country, I think, is going to be really good.
Well, I think we should be pushing in Australia the rubber suckers with a little Davros head on. We need to talk about that. Yep. And I also think this Springbok family will be very successful in Australia because it will give you everything from standing shots, kneeling shots, prone shots, all from the same system.
You really test this equipment, don't you? Like you're everywhere around the world testing this equipment.
100%. I mean, I'm basically an outdoor adventure person before I'm a design engineer. Yep. And so if it works for me, right, then I'm comfortable with it. I also really have become a glue pot for some very bright people. So now what's happening is the products develop. I'm working with some really good people, both in the hunting industry and the military side, developing products that they're coming to me with the ideas from. And I'd be stupid not to listen to them.
And I was going to say, like, you know, there's a lot of bipods, tripods out in the market, you know, for shooting. What sets yours apart?
Really good question. So my view is we are not, if you're going to go and do a load of range work, there's plenty of other good bipods out there. If you're a serious mountain hunter or a serious outdoor hunter, then our products really start to make sense.
Yeah.
So if you're going on a horseback, for example, you don't want a bipod stuck in if you're putting the rifle on the side of the horse, for example, and it's getting caught up. And we're providing Lego for you, the hunter. So you can build these kits to basically meet your applications.
So, Brad, how do you find the Spartan product in the Australian market?
Look, the guys, as I said, the hunting fraternity in Australia is quite small. It really is. But the guys who are serious hunters have really embraced the product. They've embraced the Ascents, the Hercules, now the Springboks, and we're selling a lot more Springbok quads than, and, you know, I must say, I had my doubts about the quad in the Australian market because it's very European.
Yeah.
Very European.
Yeah.
But the guys here who've used them, love them. And we can see they're slowly there's a bigger uptake now on those quads as well.
Well, I'm fascinated by that because if you went back to Europe 20 years ago, nobody used quads.
No.
Right? And now, if you mainland Europe and actually south of the UK, everybody freaking loves them. It's a product that you either love or hate. If I was going to Africa, I wouldn't go without one because I think it's absolutely dynamic for that kind of thing. And if you're doing any planes game, absolutely. But the nice thing about our Springbok quad is you can still shoot it prone. So it's a very adaptable tool. And the reason I don't like quads is because you've got 2 points of contact with the rifle. You've got to pick them up and manipulate them. Well, if you use the Spartan's magna switch system, it's held in the front of the rifle. So you can control everything from the rear end. So it's very fast and fluid. Moreover, you can push the rear legs back and make it a giant bipod. So if you've got a speedy shot to do, it's a very, very clever bit of kit.
Gun manufacturers are really starting to take notice of this, aren't they?
Absolutely.
And like now they're starting to get embedded into the stocks at that production level.
Exactly right. So you'll start to see coming out over the next year or two, you'll start to see mainstream manufacturers coming out with a Spartan adapter in the stock. So when you see it, you see a hole in the front of the stock. Don't think that it's a fault and don't think they've done something wrong. That's actually the gunsmith adapter for a Spartan bipod. And it certainly makes it very easy for you guys just to purchase one, take it out, give it a go.
And the great thing being too is that you can just quickly switch between all the different
types.
You know, so you can have, I guess, bipods, tripods for every situation.
You've got bipods, tripods and quads and rubber mounts for vehicles. So there's a huge amount of opportunity. Once you've got that gunsmith adapter, I call it the gateway drug, in that stock, you're going to want to stick things in it.
So there you go.
That's the next Spartan t-shirt.
You got a hole?
No, I'm really excited about that. And there's some big brands coming on board. And I'm not saying target shooters. There's other products. There's better products out there. But if you're a serious hunter, this stuff takes a lot of beating.
Well, you know, and that's the thing, Mr. G. Obviously, we've known you for a few years now, but, you know, you must check out Mr. G's Instagram, which is...
Spartan _Mr. G.
Yeah, make sure you check that out. There's some...
It's well worth a watch.
It's definitely worth a watch.
There's a bit of blood drinking on there and all sorts.
We'll get into that. But look, mate, how has your hunting style evolved over the years? Obviously, with your own products, from where you first started, you've obviously been out, you love the adventure. Take us through some of your hunts.
So a lot of people immediately think you've got huge knowledge on lots of things because you do. I'm what I call like a mini flavour taster.
Right.
I get to experience lots of different flavours. That's what I really mean. So like this year, I go to the Pyrenees hunting roebuck when I come back from here. And then I'm going to Transylvania. And then I've got Tajikistan.
Eat a bat.
Maybe, or I might get eaten by a bat. Yeah. Macedonia. And I finish in, Tajikistan. So we're doing a lot of different ventures this year. And I live what I'd call a millionaire's life, but being a poor man. You know, this is a tool for me to get out and try all these products. So I love hunting in Asia. I love hunting in Europe. I love hunting all over the place. What I really enjoy is the engagement with the indigenous people, though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was just going to say, Brad, here's a gentleman that's found himself a business where he gets to go around the world and hunt.
Yes, very good.
Yeah.
Champagne taste on a beer budget.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. Yeah. But I often do a bit of guiding for people, and so I'm not enamoured about shooting trophies. I'm too old. Yep. I haven't got anywhere to stick them. My house is too small. But I love the adventure.
Do you think we should really get into the products now and get Mr. G to give us a rundown on some
100%.
of the...
100%.
Right. Okay. That Javelin Light. Pass that to me.
Yeah, that's the one, Matthew. You're correct.
Yeah.
Correct,
this is a really simple little bipod that weighs less than your iPhone. It can live on my bino pouch, and it's there when I need it. And remember, if you've got adapters on your rifle, you only need one bipod. So just literally goes on like so. There's 2 modes for it. This is hunt mode. So if I've got it in hunt mode, I can orbit the rifle and move, which is crucial if you're in a hunting environment, because it's rarely flat out there. Maybe Australia's different, but a lot of places I hunt, you know, it's a challenging terrain. So that can ping in there, super quick, tuck it away, one moving leg, which I love, pop it away, stored, good for go.
But, but not only that, Rob, these are a fantastic bipod for shooting at the range. You will not, they are stable as anything. And as you said, take them off hunt mode, have it in normal mode, you can shoot from the range of the bench.
So they absolutely work. It's not how I sell them. I sell them as a hunting tool, but they do. And I have done that in Sweden before. We were doing a little competition there, and I freaking won that on that.
100%.
And everybody's using big, heavy bipods.
They shouldn't just be pigeonholed just for hunters. They're designed for hunters, but they can certainly be used in other applications, can't they?
It's a very adaptable little tool. And one thing I'd say about all our products is shooting off carbon fibre brings some inherent advantages. It's a bit like putting suspension on your vehicle.
Correct.
Right? So if you look at the recoil management through a carbon fibre leg compared to a metal leg, it's much more predictable. So it helps swallow up the recoil. They work, they behave really, really well compared to a metal leg. So that is the springbok, the chopsticks of death. And as I say, you know, I can move this, even if I've got ground like that, you know, I can still get myself a stable platform, which is really, really fundamentally important. And then these legs all extend. And as Brad alluded to, why not unscrew these legs and fit your javelin light legs in it and make yourself a little javelin? Maybe we should consider that as an Australian product and supply those with a little short leg.
I think you and me will have this discussion after this.
Brad's going to get his legal people involved.
Yeah.
But I just want some royalties on it. I want to get around the world and test them. So how do I get the next adventure?
We have to do an Australian hunt.
Oh, yeah. We'll work something out.
I'm going to talk about this.
Favourite.
Yeah, this one's a cracker.
We were approached by a sniper unit in mainland Europe that wanted to shoot a 50 cal. They wanted a tripod that basically would last 5,000 rounds. Then it was considered the tripod will have done its life. And so it gave me the opportunity to design something from the roots up. So unlike a camera tripod, I put all of the real estate into the body of the tripod, meaning I can literally get the center mass really, really low. So unlike a camera tripod, we're going to have a body on top of that tripod. The control module's built into it. So we did this for a sniper unit. We won the contract, sold a few hundred of these Hercules tripods, which was basically this on steroids, 3 times the size. And I thought, well, hang on a minute. I could do with one of those for hunting, because I had the Polish Special Forces on the side of a mountain, and we were trying to run bipods at a position like that. And the bipods just don't work. But with a tripod, they could still follow me. You know, I was pretending to be the bad guy, and they didn't have to really move too much. So we've done very, very well on the defense sector with these guys, and it's called the Hercules. As I say, it's much bigger, but I wanted one, but I didn't want to carry the weight. So we made a tiny one, and that's called the Hoplite. And basically, all these legs unscrew so I can run long legs. What the guys in New Zealand are doing is they're removing these legs and putting the springbok legs in. So you've got a high serviceable tripod that you can do kneeling shots, et cetera, et cetera. It gives it more adaptability. Another thing you can do with this, which is very useful, if you're sitting on top of a mountain, you've got to shoot downhill.
Oh, look at that.
Right? You can't do that with a conventional tripod because you've got a center column. So there's a lot you can do with our products, really. What I would like to do is be able to offer modules, right? We're just not grown up enough to do that yet. But it would be nice to buy heads and marry them together with the legs and bits and pieces. And we'll get there one day, but almost have a custom shop and say, I need that Spartan head with those Spartan legs, because everything shares the same thread, all shares the same DNA. You know, you've got that Magna switch, you can do so much with the products.
We've shot them off the bench, Matthew. Remember the last couple of dealer trips? And they are just rock solid.
It's
they
another
do not
level.
move.
Yeah.
Do not move. Unbelievable.
It's another, the whole stability thing for the javelin, but people say, oh, there's a bit of movement. There isn't, because once you've taken the slack out of the system,
Once you load it,
you put a little bit of load on it, you're sweet as.
How does the Spartan stuff work, Brad, in terms of warranty?
Warranty? I've never had a warranty back yet.
There you go.
So I don't know.
Had it for 3
I don't know.
years.
Actually, let's be honest. What is the warranty on Spartan?
Well, we're very good to people. You know, we say as long as you contact us, but like you, it's such a handful of issues. Why wouldn't we offer good support? But look at the reviews we get for customer feedback. You know, people say we do provide excellent service. And my ethos, and I say this to our team, is say treat people how you want to be treated.
I got to get back to the hunting because if you go to Mr. G's Instagram account, he is everywhere, all around the world, doing crazy stuff.
It's something that's just started to become a bit more prevalent. We've noticed.
And we had to bring it up, right? We had to bring it up. The blood drinking.
The blood drinking. Yeah, okay. I can talk a bit about the blood drinking. So I was in Mongolia, was it a couple of years back now? And we were hunting ibex. And I shot an ibex and it was a brilliant hunt, actually. We were following some wolf. We saw snow leopards on that trip. I didn't, but the other guys were watching two snow. It was an epic place. I'd encourage anybody who gets a chance to go to Mongolia, go and do it. Well, I shot this ibex and then the locals all come out and they're straight into this ibex. And they put a little bit of vodka in there and they drain the thing of blood.
Right.
And they drink the blood and they said it's really good for your joints. And I thought, well, I'm an old man. My joints are brilliant, so I'll have a bit of that. So, yeah, I thought, actually, this isn't too bad. Yeah. So I've actually started a little bit of a thing now and I'm busy picking up parasites around the world.
I can assure you, the last time I went to my doctor, because I've just, turned 50 and asked him about my joints, he didn't recommend that. So.
No, it's an unknown. But the Mongolians would even dry the blood and turn it into a powder. And they were really into it. But these are the same Mongolians that I was sitting in the middle of the Gobi Desert with, watching them cook a marmot, right? And they pressure cook them, right? So they basically make a little fire in the middle of the Gobi Desert. They put 6 holes in this, fill it with hot rocks, and the thing basically either blows up or cooks, and you get covered in marmot juice or you eat it. And I'd say I'm somebody that will eat freaking anything. Oh, absolutely. And they're literally waiting for this thing to blow up. It just gets bigger and bigger. I'd honestly say I tried that marmot. It's the most disgusting freaking thing I've ever eaten on the planet, period. And then I was... Don Trump Jr. went to Mongolia and he said, you didn't do that, did you really, Gearing? And I said, yeah, no, I did. And he said, well, they carry the bubonic plague. 500 Mongolians die a year from eating marmots. So, yeah, don't try this at home.
So what you're saying is drinking blood is the least of your problems right now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually interesting because here at NIOA, every year they're very generous. They say, if you want to get a flu shot, we provide a free flu shot. But they also want to know if Mr. G's ever coming to NIOA so Brad and I can get a little booster shot.
Well, it was funny coming in through immigration yesterday. He said, are you bringing any? I said, well, me personally, I've been drinking all sorts of things.
Well, look, I tell you what we're going to do. We are going to head down to the range now because we are going to get Mr. G on the 60-second challenge. What do you reckon, Brad?
Oh, mate, I can't wait to see him. Everybody else has had to use a rest, but we're going to let Rob use.
Oh well, he had a little hissy fit. If he couldn't use his bipod, he was walking.
I think it's cheating. I think it's cheating myself. Yeah. Everybody else has had to use a bench rest. Yeah. He gets to use. All right, bipod.
Okay.
But isn't this a good analogy though, guys? Because if I win, right, it just demonstrates.
All right, well, let's just see how well it works.
Everyone will buy one.
Let's head down to the range and see how he went. Righto, well, here we are down to the range. Special treat all the way from the UK. Mr. G, Spartan Precision Products. He's here for the 60-second challenge. Brad, what are we shooting?
We are shooting the Springfield 2020, the Loopold 3-9x40 rimfire scope, federal gold medal ammo. But there is something good about this one. We are shooting a Spartan Pro Hunt tack.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, Mr. G, how you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling powerful.
Well, let's get on with it.
Let's get on with it.
Time starts now. Oh. 25 seconds. 30 seconds.
Wow. We have a winner.
Oh.
We have a winner. Have a look at that.
Oh my goodness, the Fast and the Furious. That was fast.
Do you think that's a winner?
That's a winner.
Yeah! That's a winner.
That looks pretty good.
It does look really good.
That's a winner.
I think I nearly
That's a winner.
got a little bit of seepage there.
That's a winner.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
All right, well, we're back from the range. I can't believe how quick he was.
Oh, under 60 seconds.
Under 60 seconds.
second Rob, they call him.
Yeah, unfortunately for many things.
Well, they actually call him the Wombat, and you know why?
Yeah, I've got to go there.
Right, hang on. Hey, Keithy's here. Keithy, have you got the scores, mate?
Yeah, reluctantly, I've turned up with them.
Uh-oh.
I told you it looked good.
Now, look,
I knew it looked good.
You and I, we pretty much had the highest scores, didn't we?
We were up there, mate. We were up there.
Yeah. So what do we got here, mate?
I must say, it probably doesn't look as good as my group, which was previously the top tier. 41.5 was the top score
That's
so
where you
far.
were, Keith?
Mr. G's come in at 38.9.
We have a winner.
And
Have
did it
a
in,
winner.
I think it was about 35
seconds,
35, 36
That
seconds.
is unbelievable, mate.
Pretty good going.
Now, listen, for the people out there, Brad, do you think it was the bipod that helped?
Absolutely helped him.
There you go.
Absolutely.
All right. So what you're telling me is that the system works.
It does. It works extremely well. Everyone should be getting one of them.
Well, there you go. All right, Mr. G, you pretty happy with that?
I'm very happy with that, and that's what we're about. Spartan's about finding a stable platform. People spend a lot of money on a good rifle and good optics, but if you don't worry about the soft body tissue, getting that stability,
That's right.
you're on a loser.
You can't hold it straight. You can't hit it.
Yeah. And I invent this stuff because I'm not a very good shot.
You've proven yourself wrong today.
That's unbelievable. Righto, thanks, Keithy. Well, I think you've got a bit of work to do today, mate.
I certainly do. Thanks, Jed.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers,
Thanks,
Mr.
Keithy.
G.
But look, Mr. G, look, you're a very colourful character. That was when the first time we met you at SHOT Show, we thought, oh my goodness, this guy will fit in beautifully. But you've got a real passion.
Oh, I love
You've got a
it.
real passion for getting outdoors and having a good time and just seeing the world.
Yeah.
Tell us, what has been the most exciting hunt you've ever been on?
I would say that's a difficult one, but I'd say probably the most exciting one was hunting buffalo in Namibia.
Okay.
Only because I screwed it up spectacularly. I was with Joseph von Benedict, right, who's a brilliant friend, journalist in the States, and we got on the riverbed looking for this particular buffalo, and we tracked this buffalo. We wanted an old cull animal, and we couldn't take any trophies. It was basically to feed the local community, and they would use everything. So it was a perfect hunt for me. And we were following this buffalo for 3 hours, right? And we kept getting sight of it and would go around behind us. We had line prints on top of it. We'd then run into a herd of elephants, and we were all right about that until we saw baby elephants. And then the guy said, oh, no. With young elephants in here, if they pick up on us, it's a bit aggressive. So there was it was a really exciting hunt for me. Missed it that day, had no opportunities, went back out 3 more days. Then we found the buffalo again that we were after, and he was with 3 other old boys, because when these buffalo get really old, they just get fed up with being in the crowd and they want to be on their own. And they were they were feeding across the river, and we were behind this tiny little bush, and these buffalo were just getting closer and closer to us until they were like just a few meters in front of us. And then one of them gave that horrible look, and you think, ooh, how's this going to turn out? And because it's all new to me, I don't know. So, and the guy, when he starts getting a bit sweaty, you can get very sweaty, just wee yourself. So basically, the buffalo came across the river, and there was like a little, I'd say a thick wood, no thicker than 50 meters by 100 meters. And these buffalo picked up on us, and 4 of them ran into there. They went into the wood. 3 of them ran out, right? I thought all 4 had run out. Couldn't see them. I thought, well, that's game over. I even undid the rifle, pulled the bullets out, blah, 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 because I thought that's game over. Unbeknownst to me, the one we were after popped out on his own and ran around. You know, he was 80 meters in front of us. I had to put the bullets back in, load up quick, shot the buffalo. Now, all the organs in those African animals are really squeezed up high front. Not saying that's my screw up, but I shot the buffalo too far back. So it wasn't happy, right? And it ran off, and then we had to track the buffalo for another 40 minutes or so. And we found it, luckily, sitting down, and I managed to put another shot in it and sort that out. But yeah, that had my juices going. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I love hunting in Asia. I really enjoy, my background's climbing, right? So anything, if it's axes, fly rods or a rifle or motorbikes, any excuse to be outside, I'm up for it. So I just love the whole dynamics of those things. And actually pulling the shot for me now is almost academic. It's just being with some good people. And I really enjoy it when you're with like indigenous people. I like the Inuit, or I was in Bolivia last year. Freaking amazing place. I mean, the wildlife out there. We weren't hunting, we were fly fishing there. But, you know, like one of the little local lads, everything wants to kill you. It's a bit like Australia. They've got caterpillars that will kill you. They've got wandering spiders that if you get bitten by, you get a massive raving old b***er for about 4 hours and then drop dead. And nasty snakes and all sorts of things. And then these horrible bullet ants, right?
Sorry, I'm still with the spider.
Yeah. You don't want a night with a spider. Yeah. I hear it's a very painful way to go.
Right.
Yeah. But incredible people, you know, and you're with these guys and they're just eating their little cocoa leaves. They've got no phones, nothing. We're in a dugout canoe. We're going up this river and you're seeing all this amazing wildlife. Those things are pretty awesome, really. So it's great for me to get these opportunities to go to all these wonderful places and do these amazing things. Probably adds another tick if I can be with like the Mongolians, the Inuit, or like these people of the Bolivians.
I was going to say, are they more of your most memorable experience?
Yeah, I think they add the flavour.
Yeah.
Certainly, because if you're staying in a year or doing something like that, or you're on horses and such like, it just adds another dynamic. I'm not a big horsey person, but if it's a tool to get me from A to B, I'll absolutely use it.
Now, remember a couple of years ago we saw Rob at Shot and you were just recovering from frostbite.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been pretty epic.
Yeah,
that
was, I was with Ulf actually. It was when we were doing this, we're developing these springbok. Fingers were gone and I frost damaged an eye. Yeah. Well, what happens in the Arctic and particularly early season is the rivers will freeze, right? And the lakes freeze and then water will appear over top and they freeze again. So in order to get the snow machines over these things without sinking to the first level, and you might be a metre and a half, you're going to lose your snow machine. You've got to run those snow machines almost like boats and go really fast across them. Well, we had a trailer. I didn't have any goggles on, but we're like running this thing at 97 kilometres just to keep it all going. So I frost damaged an eye. I've never had that before, and it took about 6 to 8 weeks. I thought I permanently damaged, actually. I was pretty pissed off about that, but it's all fixed now. But yeah, and frost damaged fingers and all sorts of things. And the other problem I had with that was I developed, you know, being an old man, I've started springing leaks like gaskets. So I had a little hernia and we're on these skis and they're like 3 meters long, skinny little skis. They've got no skins on them. So normally when you're climbing on skis, you have a skin, a seal skin, synthetic skin, seal skin now. So when you go up, it locks. Well, these skis didn't. And climbing in snow on that, if you're not used to it, was a real challenge. And I had a pack on because we were out for a long time. You're carrying a rifle, you fall over in this stuff. And I was pretty good at falling over. I was falling over and I couldn't get up easily. And my hernia popped out. So I'm squeezing a hernia back in. So it just wasn't sexy. And the other thing we did was we thought we were going to shoot lots of caper cake. Not lots, but have a lot. And they're big birds, so they keep you going. So we just bought these really cheap meatballs. Well, after a week of living on these freaking meatballs, I can never eat a meatball again, right? I said, but because the capercaillie is good eating. Okay. It's really good, yeah. But the only thing we saw up there on that event was moose. Yeah, right. And they were struggling. Yeah, it's a tough environment and it's not a playground up there to get wrong. And it's the same with hunting in somewhere like Greenland or something. You've got no vehicles to support you. So if you go hunting in Greenland, you get dropped off, you shoot your caribou or whatever you're after, and you've got to carry that thing back to the boat. Well, if you're 12, 15 kilometres inland, that's a lot of work. And there's no paths. You know, it's not like, where's the pathway here? So be prepared. You know, it's a tough old environment.
Well, you've got to have your US visa and check to go to Greenland.
Oh, probably, yeah. I think so.
So what do you think, what can you tell us what maybe one of your funniest adventures have been?
So one thing that we'd finished a climb in the Himalayas, very unsuccessful, right? And we had a bit of time kicking off because it was when that Icelandic volcano kicked off. So we were stuck in Nepal. Got into gin and tonics and I thought, well, I'm going to turn into an alcoholic. I've got to do something. So we went down to Chitwan, which is on the Indian-Nepalese border. and did a little like safari looking for leopard and blah, blah, blah. And I was with a good buddy of mine, Noah, and I said to this little jungle guide called Lost Me, brilliant name for a jungle guide, isn't it? Yeah. I said, I'd really like to see a tiger, I just, in the wild. And he said, well, there's a little jungle village, take us a couple of days, we've got a day to get there and we'll have to have a day to get back. We're not going to do it any quicker than that. And I don't want to be in the jungle at night time, so we have to get to that village. And it's getting a bit dusky, and then the animals are all starting to kick off. The deer are going crazy, the monkeys are going crazy. You can feel the electricity in the jungle, and you think, and little Lost Me was basically saying, right, it's your turn now, boys, you're the food. And he said, there's a tiger here, right? We couldn't see a tiger, and we were sort of thinking, is there, isn't there? But you could feel the vibe. And I said, well, what happens if we see one of these tigers? And Lost Me's like probably 40 kilos, and these trees are about this thick. He said, well, if you see it, just climb up a tree. And I thought, there's nothing big enough to do that, right? Because we don't have any guns or anything. We're just on our own. And that night, we didn't see anything.
Okay.
And we got into the village, and they're so freaking hot. I ended up going and staying in like this chicken coop, these places where they set these fires up to scare the elephants away off their crops. And, you're thinking, well, one was eaten by this tiger 3 days ago, and one was maimed. Maybe that tiger's getting pretty hungry, because when they get old and they can't catch things, we're the soft target. So next morning we go back into the jungle, and then all the animals are kicking off again. And then literally 30 metres in front of me, this tiger just gets up and walks across the track and sits. And he does not give a monkeys. And you think, well, if we're his McDonald's takeaway, aren't we? Yeah. So that made me think. And I thought, right, seen a tiger, Lost Me, let's get out of this place.
Let's turn around and go back.
We're going back through the jungle, and it's getting really thick. And then we find this termite mound, and what are they called? Sloth bear had been opening up the termite mound. And Lost Me said, oh, look at this. And we're all looking deep into this termite mound. And suddenly the jungle just comes alive behind us. I tell you what, if my mate had had a ladder on his back, I would have been freaking up it. I'm not proud of the moment. He tells the story really well. I was like, straight up there. And it was a monitor lizard. Oh, but it just come out and just, that was a
freaked you out.
Yeah, funny experience.
Still, you wouldn't want him grabbing hold of you.
No. But the tigers, that's quite a sight. When you see one of those things, that's a big, impressive cat. Yeah, they have a lot of leopard there as well. And actually, I believe Nepal has the highest death rate for leopards, for people getting eaten by leopards. Wow. And it's school kids, because these little kids will go off to school. Right, and they might have a 4-hour walk to school, because they're in these little villages. Every day, 4-hour walk there, 4-hour walk. You meet them. And you imagine being an old leopard and you're seeing little Jimmy going past every day. You think, right, there's a little Jim, there's a little... You get to an age of probably 10 where you can't... Right, Jimmy's done. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think that's why our kids here are so soft.
But that's what your parents always used to say. Go to school, it's good for you.
Yeah.
Not over there. No.
Yeah. I reckon a lot would go missing like that. Yeah, you never hear about it. No. But being a climber, it's about finding your happy knife edge, right? And like I did some first ascents with Simon Yates, look him up from Touching the Void fame. He cut his mate, but really good guy. And we were in Greenland, and there was a couple, I soloed a route on my own, and then 3 days later, the whole mountainside just, boom, gone. And I thought, I was on that 3 days ago, and nobody would have ever found me to this day, because we were in the middle of nowhere. And you think,
well, I don't know, if you'd been bitten by that spider, they might have seen something.
I could have poked through the top. I could have poked through the top. But it's. I'm very lucky to get these little tasters.
When you're at these, these guys, they got to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that can be a challenge, because basically in Asia, they hunt in a very different way.
Yeah, right.
They hunt to just harvest.
Yep.
So I've learnt this the hard way. So now I tend to, if I find an ibex in Asia, I like to do it on my own, because they're not naturally gifted at once they found that animal, they'll do stupid things. I'm not saying, I'm generalising, which is always dangerous, but in my experience, we saw an ibex. It was a 4-hour walk into this thing. And I went up with this guy, and he had rubber gumboots on. He wasn't prepared, poor fella, but he was fit. We knew where that ibex was going to be, and he just got up and started walking. I thought, am I missing something here? No, I wasn't. The ibex saw him and it ran off. So we blew 4-hour hunt.
Yeah.
So I quickly learned and said, right, when we see something, guys, I'm on my own on that. And then if I screw it up, it's my fault. Because they're used to probably channeling them down on a gully and shooting them with AK-47s because they just want the meat.
So what do you think the dream hunt is, mate? What do you got coming up?
I could see a few more Asian hunts. I'd like to go to northern Mongolia next time on a motorbike and hunt roebuck. I'd love to go to Nepal and hunt if that ever opportunity presented itself. I'd like to do more in Africa. I'd like to go to Tanzania and hunt buffalo there. Anything that, is just different.
Yeah. But you've never done any hunting in Australia, Rob? So no water buffalo?
No, I did a bit with Mel last year, but I failed spectacularly.
That was down south, yep.
That was down south because I didn't have one of these.
That's right.
Right, so we're after Samba deer, and she said, these Samba are really switched on. So she's got to move slow, quietly, blah, blah, blah. Mel did absolutely everything on the box to get me into that position perfectly well. We found a Samba deer. I'm on a hanger, like a really steep hill like this, and I can't get... Had I had that, I'd have been away. And I jokingly said, we need somebody that invents bipods here now. But so I failed. I didn't even take the shot because I just couldn't get on it planted.
We'll have to get you back over and we'll get up north.
Yeah, we'll go Northern Territory, buffalo.
Oh, I'd love to do
that.
we'll
get a magpie geese at the end.
For sure. Oh, we'll have to... So look, Mr. G, we're going to have to start bringing this thing to an end, but you're 61 years of age. If you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, or even just to some young kids out there that are wanting to be entrepreneurs or start their own business, what's the advice you'd give them?
I'd say be brave. Don't let people tell you can't do it, right? But throw yourself at it. If you're not going to throw yourself at it 110%, don't even get off the road to start. You've got to be committed. I've also surrounded myself with very capable people, and you can't do everything. I'm good at a little bit, and I can do my little bit pretty well, but I'm crap at 90% the rest. So you need to fill in those voids, and you need to learn that very quickly. But I've really enjoyed the journey, mostly. There's been times where we've been taking on more water than getting rid of it, and it feels pretty scary at times. But if I look back on it, would I have changed things? A few things. I'd have probably been a little bit more prudent about the product development, getting it out there and things. But I'm pretty happy with the way we're going now.
Awesome. And on that note, would you please thank Mr. G?